Hello everyone, and welcome to Part 3 OOP project. Object-oriented programming is fundamental to becoming a good Python programmer, and we're going to be using it so much in Django that it's great to get some extra practice by building a game. We'll use object-oriented programming to create the card game known as War. It's a very simple card game. The relevant file for this lecture is Part 3 OOP project.py, and there's also a solutions file. Don't check the solutions file yet until you've attempted the project. Feel free to either treat this as a code-along project, where you just go straight to the solutions lecture and actually code along with me, but I do recommend that you attempt it on your own first. Let's take a quick look at the actual project file, which has some extra code to help you out if you attempt to do this on your own. I'll jump to my editor now. Okay, so here I have part 3 OOP project.py file open, and when you open this file, you'll notice that there's a bunch of commented code. These are just the rules of the game War. If you haven't played War or don't really know what it's about, you can read this to actually understand the rules, or you can actually read the Wikipedia link to War, the card game. But the basic rules are very simple, and the way we're going to do it for this project is you playing versus the computer. What's going to happen is you have a deck of cards, it gets split in half, and half of it's face down to you, half of it is face down to the computer. And you and the computer will flip one card face up at the same time. Whoever has the higher card wins both of those cards. And that's the basic premise of War. But there's a special event that happens when both cards that you pull face up happen to be equal to each other in rank. If that's the case, then you and the computer pull out an extra 3 cards, and then you pull out another card to actually compare to each other. And then whoever wins that wins the war and then wins all of those cards. So that would be all 10 cards. Okay, so then we want to scroll down here, and we can see that I've imported some useful things for you. So I've created already from random import shuffle, and then we have 2 lists here that are really useful for creating cards. They're just lists that are created by splitting a string based on the white space. So you can play around with those. You don't have to use them, but they're there just to help you out. Then we have the deck class, the hand class, the player class, and then some gameplay. So what you're going to be doing is the following. You're going to be using this deck class, and this object will create a deck of cards to initiate play. And you can then use this deck list of cards to split in half and give to the players. It will also be able to use these 2 lists here to create the deck. It should also have a method for splitting and cutting the deck in half and shuffling the deck. We also have the hand class, and each player has a hand, and they can add or remove cards from that hand. And there should be an add or remove card method within this class. Then we have the player class, and that takes in a name and an instance of a hand class object. And the player can then play cards and check if they still have cards. And then finally, over here, we'll have gameplay. Again, you don't actually have to use these 3 specific classes, but you do have to use at least one class and use object-oriented programming in some way. But this is just skeleton code here, just some scaffolding for you to fill out if you want to follow along with the solutions. Okay. Best of luck, and coming up next is the solution lecture where we will be coding along an example solution. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you at the next lecture.